Wasting time. Wasting time.
Anyway, what's your Vici Invictus team here then, Blair? Like if you have to go and name a 5, or at least give us like the uncuttables. Like who's definitely in your roster?
Are we limited to these two teams only?
I don't think Talu's going to give up anyone.
No, I'm not talking about Tyloo, but
Other Chinese teams? Other Chinese players, maybe?
I mean, it's up to you guys. Like I have been doing this on the fly, so
I'd just throw in. It's pretty simple for me. I'd get in Xiao Sage. I would get in. Obviously, have Mr. Flying in the lineup. So Flying Xiao Sage to replace Zouking and Almond, Kaze, and of course you have good old Mr. Jamyang. I'd still keep Advent around.
okay.
I can't really think of a good enough. I can't think of a good enough replacement. Because when it works, it's phenomenal. And I want to see Flying under Advent structure, because you got to remember, with all his flaws, the way he sets up players like Kaze, it's great. Like he feels so comfortable at times. Yeah, maybe not in Mirage City set, for example. Apart from that, he does a very good job setting up and unlocking players. Look at how Jamyang just blossomed as not just. And the cool thing about Jamyang, you watch him play, and you're like, this guy's been playing easily like 3-4 years in a pro scene. No, right? He's just a pug star, just came into the scene, and he looks so good the way he plays, very Robs-esque in his approach to Counter-Strike, which is so cool. And I feel it wouldn't have happened if he joined, let's say, a Tyloo, if he joined, let's say, any other team apart from playing under Advent's wing. So yeah, Xiao Sage, Flying, Jamyang, good old Kaze, and Advent. Maybe I see a world where maybe Xiao Sage might be replaced by some other player in the region. I'm not sure who, though, because he is getting on with the age, and I'm not sure he can continue his form a couple of years down the line. But I'm not sure who I would pick, Pilsky.
yeah, it's like a hard team to make. I feel like even with these two rosters, you're almost missing a fifth player somewhere.
Yeah,
Like it's easy to put 4 people together, but I feel like there's a piece missing somewhere, because every roster that you put together is like 2 people that play the same role, or there's too many aggressive players, or there's too many passive players almost. I think like you do. I would agree with Blair's lineup, to be honest. I think I would go for Flying, Xiao, Advent, Jam, and Kaze probably.
Tasteful
But
name.
I
Come
feel
on.
like that's an incomplete lineup almost. It's like someone has to make a compromise, and that's probably why I put Xiao Sage in with Advent, because I think Xiao Sage can be quite a good glue player, to be honest. He can do a bit of everything, and he can definitely thrive in some awkward situations. I've definitely seen him clutch. I think Jamyang and Kaze are incredibly consistent, and then Flying is like, that's like a player that can pop off for you, and can also occasionally, if you need someone to go in and get some kills, the man can do it. So I think that's a good enough team, to be honest. I think that's enough firepower. And I think that Kaze, Jamyang, and Flying have all sort of proven themselves, as well as Xiao Sage to some extent. Even just being a middling sort of player, they've all sort of proven themselves enough in the consistency department that you can make up for someone being a bit of a liability fragging wise, if they continue that form.
Yeah.
Where it gets worrying is if someone like Flying falls out of form, or the roles don't quite work correctly. I'm almost tempted as well. The other thing I was thinking of, just while we're on this topic, is I'm almost tempted to put Viva in the team with Advent, because I almost feel like Advent could actually get into play well more consistently. Maybe it's like he just hasn't really had a proper in-game leader who's fully focused on that to take like the best out of him.
So what
But
you'd have
at
him
the
instead
same
of
time,
Xiao
you'd
Sage.
have to take out Kaze, or you'd have to get him playing a role that he's not playing at the moment, and he's
Maybe-
already struggling as it is. So
Maybe Advent as an active coach, like it's online CS, right? He could be in-game leading, calling as a
ideally,
coach.
yeah.
Ideally, at least for the online phase, for the next few months, I think that could work. Get Viva in and let Advent just take a backseat, but call actively, and hope that the new players coming in actually listen to him. I think that's been the biggest problem for.
That's a team that could beat Tyloo.
Okay, so then just to clarify, our dream team of Vici Invictus or Invictus, whatever. I'm trying to get it right.
Vicious. There we go.
Invicitus is what I was looking for. Anyway, doesn't matter. That team is Xiao Xiaosage. I've got them all wrong. Xiaosage, Kaze, Jamyang, Flying, and then Advent or Viva, depending
With
on
Advent as a coach.
how we're
Yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah,
With
I think
Advent as
the dream one is like Advent as coach, and you
Yeah.
bring Viva in, but you've got to like have Advent in Viva's ear, telling him that he's Pog champ like every day, and like getting him to like be in the entry pack probably. How aggressive is Xiao Sage playing lately? Is he more of just like a hold a position kind of player or a supportive player? He needs to be the glue guy. Like you can't expect him
He's
to
not
do
aggro.
very
He's
much.
not the aggro guy. You usually see someone like, I think it's perfect. Like Oi is hyper passive, right? He's super passive, and sometimes he just gets overrun. He struggles holding it in up like solo bomb sites, for example. Flying is a perfect mix, and I think I agree with you. I think the problem with Viva is there's too many people telling him that he's PogChamp. So he just feels he is Poggers and just runs on in and just gets pogged in the head, which is unfortunate for him. But I feel he needs to be restrained a little bit more. And which is surprising because you have Xiao Sage next to him and you watch Xiao Sage play. There is a reason why he's so consistent. Even when Flying has a bad day, Xiao Sage doesn't. There's a reason for that. And it's not about him being an in-game leader, setting himself up for success. He does take some of the rougher roles as well. It just the maturity, I guess, he's getting on with the years as well. I think he's just a very smart player. And I just hope that it kind of rubs off on someone like Viva. We know the promise he has, but I don't know. Xiao Sage is playing right. Just answering your question, Pilsky. Xiao Sage is not being hyper aggressive. He's no longer Xiao Sage like 4 or 5 years ago. He's playing very, very smart individual Counter-Strike. But for some reason, Viva's just not listening to him. Or maybe he is. I don't know.
Wasting time.